Hey everybody. Hey. Come on in, come on in, come on in the room, come on in the room. Hmm. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I need to rest. Hey y'all. Hey, good evening, good evening, good evening. Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday. Come on in the room. Hey, Miss Sandra. Come on in the room. Happy Saturday. We bless the Lord today on Saturday. We just bless the Lord and we thank God for all that He has given us in this day. We just bless the Lord today. He is just so worthy to be praised. Every single chance that we get, we should lift up our voice and make a joyful noise to the Lord because He has spared us yet again. So we bless the Lord on tonight for the things that He has done. I won't be before you all long. I will not be before you long. I took my own advice today, y'all. I got out of the house. What? I thought that I would go to work today because I had told them that I would come and try to finish up some things because we got an audit coming up Monday. So I told them that I may be in to finish up some things that I was doing there. But guess what? I decided that I would go and enjoy my day. And that is what I did. I have had an amazing day today. I did some things. I took my own advice and I did something that I enjoy doing. And not just that, I found a barber. Hey, listen. I told him he locked in because I have not been able to find one since I've been up here that, to cut my hair like I like. So he locked in already. So, going to that barbershop and talking to them was like I had known these people all the time. I mean, I went in and, just like we had known each other all the time. Everybody that was in there, like we all just connected. I'm like, wow. So it's been a really, really good day. But tonight, I'm going to go on and get into the message for tonight. And it is a really, really blessed word. I just thank God for the word because no matter what word comes, we just thank God because He's not a God that's going to leave us to ourselves to figure this thing out on our own, but He walks us through every single aspect, of what we need to draw closer to Him, to cling to Him. So, like He said, there's a way that seems right to a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death. And I'm so thankful to God that when He sees us veering off course, and going in another direction, how He intervenes, and He interrupts our life in a way that it redirects us, so that we are back on the path that we're supposed to be on. So I thank God for that, because, the Lord, is not going to come and give us a good word all the time, but the closer you get to God, then you begin to appreciate the word that don't feel so good, but you're just grateful for it because you like, man, I could have been going that way thinking that I was right. But Lord, thank you. Thank you for turning me around. Thank you. I didn't even realize that I was headed for the ditch, but thank you for sparing me yet again and putting me back on the right track. So we just bless God for that. Hey, everyone coming in, we just bless the Lord for that. But as stated, the word that I'm going to talk about tonight is abandoning control. And the reason why I want to talk about that is because one thing about faith is that when you start to develop in your faith, or you start to grow in your faith, it's some things that you have to do. And abandoning control is one of the things that you have to do. And I remember when the Lord told me to leave Virginia and come over here to Tennessee. Let me tell you something about faith, because I've been working on my book today, right, about doing faith. And, and it's all just like it literally blows my mind because I can't see. I don't know what my next step is. This is faith. The Lord told me to do faith when I came over here. So every single step that I take, unless I'm taking a step, I can't see. That's what faith is, right? Unless I'm actually taking a step, I cannot see where I'm going. I don't know where I'm supposed to be going, but as I go, then the Lord is lighting a path for me. So every time I take a step, the way becomes clear. Am I making sense? Because if you want to grow and develop in your faith, you got to move regardless of whether you can see where you're going or not. Because when you can't see, isn't that faith? What? Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen, right? You got to believe God even when you can't see, when the way is not clear. You got to trust him anyhow. Do you think Abraham knew that the Lord would send a ram? No, but he believed God. He knew that some way, somehow, that God was going to intervene. He didn't know how it was coming, right? But because he was obedient to the Lord, then God provided a ram. He had so much faith in God that he told Isaac, he said, look, we going up here. And Isaac looking at him like, because he had sense enough to know what they was going to do, because they probably had done it many times, right? Because I'm sure Abraham trained him up in the way that he should go. And so he knew what the process was, because he looked at his father and he said, okay, we going up here. I see the wood. I see you got all this stuff, but where is the sacrifice? Abraham didn't want to tell him it's you. But he said God will provide, right? And didn't God do that? Yes, he did. He provided for him a ram. So tonight we're talking about abandoning control, because you can't have faith in God and have your hand over here in the stuff too, right? You got to move. You got to give it up. You got to take your hands off. If you want God to do this thing that you're asking him to do, then you need to take your hands completely off. And like I said, when the Lord told me to come over to Virginia, I was sitting in there last night writing on this book, and I'm just literally laughing at myself, because for years, y'all. For years. And I got some people on here that I know can testify to this because they saw me go through. They saw me go through. And I just kept telling people, I just feel God is telling me to move, And I kept asking people, just chasing folks down. Did the Lord tell you that I'm supposed to be? I gotta laugh at myself because I know I wore people slam out. Have the Lord showed you anything about me? Because I know what I'm hearing, right? But, me, I just wanted to be sure that it was God because so many people out here doing stuff and calling it God. I just wanted to be sure that it was him before I moved. So I'm asking everybody, I'm running the prophets down. Listen, dude, what do you see? What do you see? But God was teaching me. He was training me how to hear his voice, right? And so I'm asking everybody, did the Lord have the Lord been telling you anything? Because I'm hearing, the Lord keep telling me to move, and I don't know if it's me telling myself because I think I'm ready to go or, I just don't know. Listen, for years, I went to church. I stood up in church. I stood in that little spot that I go to when I go to church, and every time the word comes forth, I'm standing there boo-hooing and crying because the word was hitting me right in my heart. It was ministering to me, and I'm just standing there I knew God was speaking to me. I knew it, but, I was afraid to step out because I didn't know for sure if it was him. And so one day, I promise you, one day I was saying in my mind, I was talking to myself. Yeah, I do that from time to time, but I promise you I'm not crazy. I was talking to myself and I said, Lord, why, I won't talking out loud, but I was talking, in my mind. And I said, Lord, why every time everybody that I ask them, have you said anything to them about me moving? They keep talking about no. And I know you got to be showing them something because I knew what I was feeling. And I said, I know you got to be showing them. They just don't want to tell me, right? And so, as I thought that, the Lord said to me, just like I'm talking to you, he said, because I didn't tell them. I didn't tell them. I told you to move. And I was like, what? Listen, I promise y'all, it literally blew my whole mind. I'm asking all these people, did God tell you that I'm supposed to be moved? The Lord said, no, I didn't tell them. I told you. Listen, when the Lord told me that, I went and got them boxes. had none of this stuff, none of this arranged yet, because we talking about faith. I went and got them boxes. I started packing my stuff up. I didn't know, like I said, nothing was worked out, but I'm believing God, right? I'm abandoning control and I'm believing God based on what I know I heard. Because sometimes you hear God and you second guess it. That's just me telling myself, what? That's what I thought. That it was just me telling myself. And no matter how much I tried to shake it, I said, it's just me. It wouldn't go nowhere. And week after week after week, I'm talking about for years. This is one the Lord ain't told me up all that time I wasted. But he knew my heart. He knew that I wanted to please him. He knew that I did not want to step outside. I had grown so much. I'm not trying to mess up. No, I'm not going to step out here until I know. And that's what I kept saying, Lord, you going to have to, like I said, we sitting out here asking God for a sign, and sometimes he send the sign and hit us upside the head and we still won't move. Y'all better listen. Abandoning control. Faith is abandoning control and allowing God to come in and light the path for you. You know, sometimes you won't see, you won't get a sign every time, but you still have to be willing to move because that's faith, right? Like I said, somebody told me that, I don't have faith in nothing I can't see. What? Can you see God? What? So you don't believe in God? Is that what you saying? Because the Bible tells us that hope that is seen is not hope. Because if you see it, why are you hoping for it? So if you don't have faith, you can't have hope. And if you ain't hoping, what are you doing? Like you just existing. What? Anyway, so we talking about abandoning control. So then in doing faith, because like I said, and I got some notes over here, that's why I'm looking over this way. So, and sometimes we can stay in this place for so long because we're waiting for something to materialize or for something to assign, and like the Lord told Jonah, ain't gonna be no sign gonna be given. Like he told the people, ain't no sign gonna be given. God is not gonna give you a sign every time he needs you to move. You're just gonna have to have faith and step out and believe God, period. Even after I got over here, and I know y'all have probably heard me tell the story before, even after I got over here and the Lord allowed the job to go through, everything went through when I got over here. But even after I got over here, I was only put in a hotel for a week. I ain't know nobody over here. I was put in a hotel for a week. And when I got ready to leave the hotel, then my job was supposed to have extended my stay. They didn't. But guess what? Because the Lord said, do faith. So I had sense enough to know I didn't know what was going to come, that I would have to do faith, but I was prepared to go through. I'm watching, I'm looking around. I'm trying to keep up with the Lord because I don't know, what's going to happen, to what extent is going to happen, that it's going to pull something out of me where I'm just going to literally have to do faith, right? So I left that hotel, y'all, I promise you. And I've told the story before, so I know many of y'all may have heard it. But for those who haven't, I'm going to tell it again. So when I got ready to leave the hotel, I left. And, of course, I prayed. But listen, wait a minute. The night before I got ready to leave the hotel, I saw one of the apostles was on live on Facebook. And so, of course, I clicked it and, I'm listening to what he's saying. And, and so while he's ministering, then I'm just saying, amen, bless the Lord, everything. So he obviously saw my name. And so he called my name out and he said, Teresa Stith, he said, God said, is there anything too hard for him? Now this man all the way back down the road somewhere and don't know nothing about what I'm facing, because I promise you, I had already been on my knees in prayer to the Lord before I even saw him on live. And I asked the Lord, what am I going to do? Because I'm leaving tomorrow, and I don't have anywhere to go. I don't know anybody. So when he said, is there anything too hard for God? I was just on the other end over there just laughing because I'm like, Lord, there's no way. Like this guy literally don't know what I'm facing right now. But he told me, he said, let God step fully into your situation. He said, let him step fully in it. And I'm just laughing and writing down what he's saying. what my instructions were. So unbeknownst to me, though, I didn't know they wasn't going to extend the hotel stay. So now I'm outside. I don't have anywhere to go. I promise y'all. I was up here. I didn't have anywhere to go. But God said, do faith. I could have called my family. I could have called my friends. I could have called anybody because I got some people that I know that I can call. But the Lord said, do faith, right? And so I said, okay, Lord, because I was used to calling people. You know, I was used to asking people for help. But I said, I said, no. I said, I'm not going to do it this time. I said, Lord, you said to do faith, so I'm going to stand right here and I'm going to wait. Y'all should have said, listen, y'all better do faith. What? Stop doing what you are accustomed to doing and trust God all the way through it. And so I didn't call anybody. But I'm out there with my car. I'm up here in another state. Out there in my car. I got all my stuff in my car. And so I had to pull over somewhere. So I pulled over in McDonald's parking lot. And I was sitting there in the car and I said, Lord, I said, I know you told me to do faith. I'm talking to God. I said, I know you told me to do faith. I said, but Lord, I do not believe that you're going to have me out here like this tonight. But if I got to, just like Daniel when they was in the lion's den, but if he don't deliver us, then I know he's able, right? And so I said, Lord, I don't believe that you're going to have me out here like this. I said, but if this is your will for me for tonight, I am prepared to go through. And I pulled my little blanket up, sitting up in the car like this. And I pulled my little blanket up and I'm just sitting there and I'm beginning to rest. I'm resting in what God has said. And no sooner as I sit back, my phone rung. I promise you, my phone rung and it was my best friend. And she said, hey girl, what you doing? And I didn't even want to tell her, right? And I'm sitting there like, because I didn't want to tell her. So I'm deciding, well, Lord, I know I'm trusting you, but do I mention it to her? Like, I didn't call her. You told me to do faith. She called me. And so I said, well, I'm out here. Because I did not want to tell her. She was like, what? She was like, what? And so she sent me money so that I could get a room that night. And I said, okay. I said, well, bless the Lord. Thank you. Listen, I got that room that night and I laid down and I rested. Let me tell you, it wasn't even 24 hours. When I got up and went to work, by the time I got off of work the next day, I had a whole apartment. The lights was on. Water, everything. I didn't pay no deposit. I didn't pay no first month's rent. I promise you, because I let the Lord step fully into the situation. And that's what you're going to have to do. You can't say that I believe God and then you, like the wind and sea tossed to and fro, and you got to stand firm in what you believe. Listen, the Lord said that a faith that works will be worldwide. When I tell you that I don't know what it all entails, I don't. I'm just doing like the name of this group. I'm just faithing it to make it. Because faith is something that you have to step by step, day by day. You just have to faith it every single day. People asked me before I came out here, well, what are you going to do? And I kind of, it was a part of me that felt bad because I didn't really have an answer because I didn't know what God was bringing me out here to do. He just said, do faith. I got to do what God's saying, and that's what I have been doing. I promise you. every single day. I have to tune my ears to hear God, to know what it is that I'm supposed to be doing in this day. Didn't the word say in all of our ways acknowledge him? Isn't that faith? In all of thy ways acknowledge him, and he will direct our paths. Out here in Tennessee, they want, if you're a business, no matter how small, if you're a business, then they're requiring you to get the sign, that tells, the minimum wage and, for the employers, to get the sign put up. And so, it's state law out here. So I got the sign, I ordered the sign and everything. Let me tell y'all, sometimes the sign is the sign. When I got the sign, I'm like, Lord, is this the sign? Because I don't know all that God is doing, but I promise you that I've been looking for buildings. I don't know what he's doing, but I got to be taking some steps. Because as I go, God, I promise you, as I'm moving, God is the one that's going to come and he's going to supernaturally work this thing that is going to literally blow my own mind. What? So we have to be adamant about including God in every aspect of our lives, right? I hope that I am making sense. Because when you talk about faith, you can't see it. You can't see it, but you have to step anyhow, right? And that's what I've been doing. I've been stepping. I've been meeting people. I'm telling you, God has been putting people in my path. He's been opening doors ever since I've been out here. As I'm obedient to the Lord, as I'm doing what God is asking me to do, God is just literally, like I said, blowing my mind. So you got to faith it to make it, right? In these times that we're looking at and what's soon to come, you better be able to faith it to make it, because you're not going to be able to go to the world for what you need. So you better get your faith up. Pull your faith up, pull your thinking up. And one of my sons, my youngest son, told me when I came over here, he was like, Mom, how much is the rent over there? And I said, more than it is in Virginia. More than it is in Virginia. And so he was like, well, Mom, you need to go and find you something a little cheaper, because things down in Virginia is a whole lot cheaper than what they are up here. But, when I heard what he said, and I was like, no, I can't do that. Because when God starts moving you and taking you to another level, you can't keep that same mind, right? The word says, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. I can't think $500 and $600 rent up here because I'm not in that place no more. When God brings you to another place and he elevates you, it ain't like you trying to be better than nobody. No, God has brought your thinking level up because he's bigger than that. I'm not in Brunswick County or Greensville anymore, so I can't think like that. If I start thinking like that, then I'll die in this place. What? Am I making sense? And it's nothing against Brunswick County and Greensville, except that the living expenses is different up here. So I'm not going to survive in this environment with a Brunswick County mind. I'm sorry. I can't. If I come up here and expect that my rent is going to be $500, I might as well pack my car and I need to head on back down there because it's not happening up here. So what is it challenging me to do? Do faith. Because God is bigger than what we can see, right? He's bigger than what we can see. And sometimes I know even talking to some people back home and you trying to explain this to them and tell them this, and they can't see no further than where they are because they haven't grown to that level of understanding or knowing God. We got to put our head in that book, and we need to know about the God that we are serving because he's bigger. He is bigger than where you are, and he's trying to pull you up a little bit higher. But some of us fight God because we don't been in that place so long and we don't got so comfortable. God trying to pull us out and move us up a little higher, and we fighting him because we can't see how we're going to sustain ourselves in the move. And that's why I wrote the book, Step. The day I told myself that enough is enough, because I knew God was bigger. And I dared to step out to see about, just like Moses said, let me turn aside and go and see why this bush is burning, but it's not consumed. So I had to step aside to see. It's something more about God that I'm not getting here in this place. So now I got to set out to see. What? So I started stepping. I couldn't see. I didn't know. But I believed God. And I knew he was bigger. I could feel him. He was trying to pour more into me, but I couldn't receive it because where I was in my thinking. Because of where I was in my thinking, I could not receive the greater that God was trying to do. So then I had to abandon control, and I had to be transformed by the renewing of my mind, right? And I'm just seeing God, pulling me on up a little higher. The more I learn of him, the more I trust him, the more I take him at his word. He's pulling me on up a little higher, right? And that's what he wants to do in your life. But you have got to abandon control, open up them hands, and lose your grip on this stuff out here. On this stuff. God has so many things that he wants to give you, but we got this stuff that we just don't want to let it go. I don't understand why. Like, what is it? Do you know how much stuff I had to lose to get here? Or that I sacrificed, rather, to get here? Stuff is not that important to me anymore. It used to be, because I felt like I was a person that never had anything. So everything that I got, I'm trying to hold on to it because I don't want to lose it, because I've been losing stuff all my life. I've been losing folks all my life. So now I've gotten to a place where I've acquired all these things, and I'm not going to lose this. What? But the more I began to grow in the Lord, let me tell you, I willingly gave it up. Here, Lord, take it. Because I know you got better. Take it. I don't need it. Right? Let this stuff go. God has better. He has greater. And he wants to give you his best. But he cannot do that if you are refusing to lose your hold on these things in the world. I hope that I am making sense. I really do. But I'm going to get off. I believe that's all the Lord wants me to say. And so I am going to get off. I love you guys. I hope that you have had an amazing day. I hope you have an amazing night. I hope that when you wake up in the morning, and you will, when you wake up in the morning, that the Lord will make your way prosperous and that you will have good success. I love you guys. I pray that you will have an amazing night. Peace and blessings.